Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Intuitive Life Coach. This is your host, Angie, and it's been a minute since I have jumped on here and shared anything. And there is a reason for that. I did not anticipate taking a break. It was just something that my spirit, body, and mind needed. So I gave myself permission to just be. And when I started this podcast, I had made a decision, just like all the books I write and what I do in my coaching, that I would not share unless I felt my spirit wanted or had something to share. So that the spirit that works through me, my higher self, the energy of what we call God, like all this, I only want to speak intuitively what I hear come through me. Now, I can't promise that it's always the case because I am human and I don't do everything perfect. However, I have felt in the last few weeks the need to step back and be within myself, I guess. So just a little bit of update on what's going on in my world with my business and coaching and all that. I have my 6 weeks healing and manifesting course. We are in our second week, about to start our third week tomorrow, actually. Crazy how fast that goes. It's just, towards the end of it, I know it can feel really hard because I've had people go through it, and then by the third or fourth week, they're like, oh gosh, this is a lot of work. But when you actually do it, it stops feeling like work and starts feeling like it's just part of your daily experience. So I do teach meditation. I teach about energy. I teach about connecting with your higher self. I teach about manifestation, relationships, all of that kind of stuff in that course. And I will be offering it again, but it probably will not be until next year. So I'm going to take a break from that for when I get done in November, take a break in December, reevaluate in January, and see what happens after that. But I am creating a new course as well for those who want to do a little bit deeper healing on top of that, on top of the 6 weeks healing and manifesting course. And then I'm also doing some intuitive life coaching individually for women at this time. I am almost at capacity. I had one more person reach out last night wanting to get some coaching. And so if she does jump in, I might be at capacity, or I might be able to take one more on. So if you are wanting some individual intuitive life coaching, please reach out. And if I can't do it right away, I will add you to my list and we will get you on it. And I really love working with these women. I've had so many amazing sessions, like just individual one-on-one sessions with amazing women recently, and I've enjoyed meeting them. Some of them I have not continued to work with. I've just done one session with them, and it's just been enough. So sometimes that feels really good, just be like, hey, one session and you're done, and then they reach out like a week or two later, and they're like, wow, my life has changed. And I'm like, that's exactly what I want it to be. So anyways, coming back into the topic for today, since I've kind of taken this break, I wanted to talk a little bit about self-care and boundaries. It's in the spiritual practice of this. There's a lot of talk out there about, at least nowadays, about self-care and mental health and taking care of yourself. And there's a lot of things out there that, like memes and things that you'll see that talk about like it's okay to not be okay kind of things. And absolutely, that gives us permission to feel our feelings, be where we are in the moment, and that is so important. However, there's a lot of times we get stuck in those moments too, where we are just like, it's okay to not be okay, and that not okay state will just go on and on and on. And at some point, you have to decide that it's okay to be okay. Being in that place is a good thing, to take that time out, but you're meant to live your life, and you're meant to enjoy it. Like, we as a spirit, we are actually supposed to enjoy our lives and to have fun and have, these experiences on this earth as humans that make us connect us with our higher self. So one of the things that I've been really pondering a lot is what connects us with that energy, what connects us with our higher self, with this energy that we might call God. So when I say God, let me just tell you what I see in my head, because I'm writing about this in my second book, so it might have a little bit more detail in there when it comes out, but I actually had a vision. This has been, oh goodness, I don't know how long ago. It feels like it's been so long ago. It may have only been like 7 or 8 months ago, where I was meditating, and at the time I was having all kinds of visitations and visions and like things coming at me, and then they kind of slowed down. But this in particular one, I saw myself, just to just recap it without sharing all the details, I saw myself like in the universe. I could see the earth, I could see the stars, I could see the planets, I could just see, like, I was up in the universe. And I remember I turned and I looked, I saw these little stars all around me. Like, there was billions and billions of stars around me, and it was so beautiful. And as I looked closer at these little stars, I noticed that they were actually souls, that they were little me's, like I was a soul. So there was like all these souls around me. And it was just like we were all one. It was no separation. It was just like, we are the universe. We are the energy. This is us. Like, we are just these little souls compared to the universe, And then I turned around, like I turned to my right and I turned all the way around, and I look, and there's this giant, like, there's no way to describe it actually, but ginormous is the only word I can think of. Ginormous ball of energy. I would say it was like the sun times 1,000, but it was like this white, it was like I don't even know if it was white. It was just like this energy, and it was so magnificent and powerful, and like you couldn't even hardly look, but I could look because I didn't have any human eyes. Like, it was just crazy. And so I see this energy, and I look, and then there's little dots of light shooting out of it, and I'm like, what are they stars? Like, what is this? And as I look closer, it was little souls. All those little dots, all those little stars I saw around me, all those little energies were all souls shooting straight out of this energy. It was creating itself. It was creating little itself, if that's how I could say it. But it was like this energy was shooting its own self out into the atmosphere, into the universe. And these little energies were choosing what to do at that point. Like, they had complete knowledge. They were connected with this energy. They knew, like, it was like the expansion of everything. Like, it's just an eternal knowledge, basically. Like, in this space, there's nothing that limits, I guess I could say. And I realized that these little energies were little spirits. Some of them had chosen or are choosing to go to Earth and be human. And so when I had this experience, I mean, you guys, when I had this, I was bawling. Like, it was so powerful. The energy was so strong. It just overtook me, and I was crying, and I was just like, this is absolutely amazing. And then this realization as I'm like coming back into the universe where Earth is, and in the atmosphere where Earth is, and I'm coming back into my body, I'm like, have this realization that I am that energy. I came directly out of that energy into this body that I chose to live in this lifetime. And it was just the most overwhelming, amazing thing ever. So I want to share with you, I share that with you because when I speak the name God, in my old religious thinking, there was always this idea that there was this man, this guy on a throne, this old man that was on the throne in heaven, or this, I don't know what it was, but it always seemed like a masculine energy or something up in the sky. But the reality of it is that energy that we come from, we are. So we are God experiencing itself. And God is everything. This energy is everything. Like, we can't, there's no way to really wrap our mind around this in our human sense. Like, I think in some ways on purpose, we choose to separate ourselves from this energy so we can experience something different. It's like this energy we call God actually created this place called Earth, along with all these other galaxies and universes and things, to experience itself in these. And so when we come into our human self, we experience all these human emotions, all these human experiences. We have feelings, we have emotions, we have relationships, we have all this stuff happening. And in some sense, we are meant, I believe that the hope in our lifetime is to come back into this knowledge of who we are. So when we're born, we're fully capable of, like, we know we're capable. Like, it's almost like we are so pure and innocent that we know where we come from. And then it gets programmed out of us because of our teachings that we go through with our parents, and we're shoved into society, and this is how you act, and this is how you do life. And, you know, and it's all based on where you live and your culture and what the beliefs are there and what is acceptable and not acceptable. And so we are here experiencing human life. So I come back, circle back around from that into the self-care. When we think of self-care as humans, we see ourselves vegging out in front of the TV, going out with our friends, doing our nails for us ladies. The guys can do that too. Exercising. Like, a lot of times we see self-care as replacing one activity with another that numbs us out, that causes our brain to shut. Well, it's not that we shut down, we just start to feel different feelings. Like, if we were to sit and watch a romantic movie to wind down, we would be, our response would be to that. If we were exercising, our response would be to that. And I think a lot of times we spend a lot of our life almost like treating this body that we decided to come in really bad. And I 100% admit, in the last couple of weeks, I have felt really bad about my body. Like, I've been judging it. I've been like, I don't know, I've just had really negative thinking. So I've had to step back in that and really be like, where is this coming from? And why is this coming back up? Because I had felt like I worked through a lot of this. And what came up was like some more inner child healing that I needed to do, which I am doing. And the need to realize that I don't have to always be doing or like, I don't know, beating myself up and beating my body up to be in a place that is acceptable, because we place our acceptance and who we are based on society standards. Like, this is what the society has said that is appropriate. This is what they say is beautiful or handsome, or this is how success looks, or things like that. But when you pull back and you reconnect with your higher self and your spirit, you build your success in that space, and that expands out. So like when I teach law of attraction and manifestation, all that energy that we use in trying to create a new body, or numbing out, or these all things that we do, that is the law of attraction in action. Okay, when we actually take the self-care time to go inward and to heal things that keep us from connecting with that energy of God, that energy of who we are made of, that is where we actually find our healing presence, and that's where we find our freedom to get into this energy of allowing and accepting the higher energy, the higher experiences, I guess, for our lives. But like, especially here in the Western world and in America, we are so driven for success that we don't take time to care for our spirit or like connect with that. And so in the last couple weeks, I was thinking about you guys. I was thinking about my podcast. I was still working. I was still doing a ton of stuff, but I just felt like my spirit was just like, just rest. Just take some time and be okay without having to do or be anything for anybody else. Just be all this for you. For a moment, release all the attachments to what other people need or want from you, and put that onto yourself, and do it for yourself and care for yourself. And it feels, when you start that practice where you start to go inward and you kind of just isolate yourself a little bit, it feels a little selfish at times because we're not used to it. But it's so important. And so I want to give you all permission to take the time to go inward and just be okay with just not being or doing anything for anybody else. Now, people will probably feel very uncomfortable about this because they're going to be used to you being in a certain energy and you showing up in a certain space. And it doesn't mean that you still won't. It just means that right now, and it doesn't have to be a long time. It doesn't have to be a year or two, just take a week, take a day, take whatever you need and spend that time going inward, not trying to change your body, not trying to exercise, not numbing out for TV, not filling your time with something, but actually spending time with you, with your higher self, falling in love with that part of yourself that is that energy that came straight from God, because that is you. When you come into this realization of how mighty and how powerful and how expansive and how energetic and how abundant this energy is that we are created from, all the things that we worry about and chase and desire and plead for, and all these things just start to kind of lose their significance. And you realize that the thing that matters the most is love. And that love starts with yourself. Without fully coming into that true love for yourself, which is that God that is in us, which we are created from, because God is just love, is just abundant, amazing, magnificent energy. When we get in touch with that part of ourselves, we can send that out in abundance, and we don't feel depleted, and we don't feel like we're having to do it or it's a chore. It feels like a natural energy that we send out, and then that need to receive it back becomes less and less, because we already know that we receive that within ourselves from the exact source that we're made from. So there's so much more I could say on this, but this is super deep, and I'm gonna let it go from here and just allow you to soak this in. I will be back to share more. I'm sure soon. I feel in my spirit that there's something else that's going to be coming up soon to share with you all, and when it does, I will. But just thank you for being patient with me in the last few weeks, as I have kind of taken a break, an unexpected one, but it was needed, and I am thankful for that time. So thank you for that, and I encourage you to do the same if you are feeling called to do so. So I wish you all the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. I send you all the universal love. Namaste.